Hey friends, how are you doing today? I hope you are doing super well. It's your host, Dustin Hill with the Faith to Impact and Income Show, and I'm really excited to talk today about something that I was missing in my life, something that I missed from God as well, that is really has made all the difference for me. And so to kind of paint this picture, what I want to do is talk about an experience that I had when we were living in San Diego. So we were just living outside of San Diego in Escondido, if you've ever heard of it. In this beautiful place called Harmony Grove. So it was kind of this newer development, and it was between like these mountains. So you'd get off the freeway and then you'd drive a little bit and then you'd go into this like just beautiful valley, and it was a beautiful place to live. It was so fun. At the time we had our dog Cosmo. He's an Australian Shepherd Border Collie mix, really beautiful coat that he had, and just a really fun dog and a ton of energy, and we loved him a lot. And so I remember though this time, so we were there at the house we were renting, and I was sitting on the couch, and I remember looking outside behind these big sliding, glass doors that were there, and Cosmo, who I had taught from a puppy and really tried to make sure that he would, behave and he wouldn't be digging holes and doing, barking at random people that he shouldn't be or whatever. Like I tried to teach him as much as I could. And I remember looking out there, and he must have been bored probably, but he was just like, he started digging this hole in the middle of the grass. And I was just like so frustrated. I get off the couch, I open the door, I run out there, and I'm like screaming at the dog. And I remember, just being super upset. Like, why is he doing this? I've tried to teach him so much, and like, he's just doing that. And again, he's probably just bored, but I didn't think about that at the time. I was just like upset. I was just upset at our dog. And so I turned around, and I remember, the kids and Amy standing at the door, and Amy's look on her face was just kind of like, really? Like, you really just did that to, like, you're just screaming at the dog, and, you're super upset and all this stuff. And it's not about the dog. It's not about the dog, but like, it's interesting as I get back to that, I felt really bad. I felt bad that, I'd, yelled at him, and just kind of really disappointed my family too. They're like, why is dad acting like this? But it really was at this time when I was really starting to learn about and actually practice like the second commandment. And so not learning about it, but it's something that what's interesting to me is, I was telling my kids last night about the two great commandments, right? Love God and love your neighbor as thyself. Well, the thing that I was missing for so many years, like, to be honest, a really long time, was to love yourself, right? To love your neighbor as yourself, because I've always kind of skipped over that part. It was always like in my mind, it was like, I need to love God and I need to love others. That's the most important thing. And so that's what I really need to do. But no one ever really taught me much about loving myself and the importance of filling my own cup, the importance of doing things to help me and making sure that I am loving me. And so like what would happen is things would happen, maybe something wouldn't go well in a relationship or something at work or whatever that is. And rather than being real about what happened, it typically would turn on myself. I would just say, oh, well, like, I'm just not good because of this. And like everything, like if there was a tough situation, I didn't want to get mad at other people. I didn't want to, yell at them or do that type of stuff, but I'd be totally fine being upset at myself. I'd be totally fine saying, hey, I am the one that messed up, even if I wasn't. But I was the one to blame. I was the one, and like, I remember too, I used to always just say, I'm sorry. I used to always say sorry because I felt like, again, I was the problem, even though deep down, I don't know if I felt like I really was, but I just continued to be really kind of mean to myself in a sense. Right. And, with that, experience with Cosmo and getting out there and being super mad at my dog, that was just one of those times where I had started to like understand that there was something going on and that I needed to change in that way. And to me, what's been really interesting is as I've learned about, personal development and about just like the idea of really loving yourself and of filling your own cup and making sure that you are healthy and that you take time for yourself, that's when it started to shift. That's when I started to be honestly better in everything that I was doing, like being a better dad, a better husband, being better, in all of my relationships and at work and everything like that, is because I was starting to take care of myself. And I think that's one of the things that can be really hard is when you don't understand that that you do need to really love yourself, then it can be difficult because you're like, oh, like I don't have time for me. I don't have, time for that. And, these other things are more important. If you're a parent, certainly can be difficult too, because of that too, or you feel like, oh, but like they're more important than me. So I'm just going to give everything I can to them. I love them so much. But the thing is, if you're not filling up your own cup, you're not showing up like you should for them. And the reason I bring this up is because of that. Because, we're talking about faith, we're talking about impact, we're talking about income. And, a lot of people that have faith, they really care about their family too. Faith and family are super important to me, and I'm sure they are to you too. And making a difference in the world and growing your business, like those are all important. And the thing is, if you're not taking care of yourself, then it's going to be hard to really show up in all of those areas. Like it is. It's just going to be difficult. And one of the best analogies that I've heard of was from Tony Robbins. And, it's the idea that, when you love yourself, you take time for yourself, you show that you are a priority, then it allows you to have somewhat of a shelter. If you think about living on the streets, and that if you didn't know where you're going to live and you had to just go sleep under freeway passes or whatever, and go around, and you didn't have shelter, you didn't have food, then what are you constantly worried about? Where am I going to sleep? Where am I going to get my next meal? Like you're constantly thinking about those type of things. And so it's hard to focus on anything else. And so in a similar way, when we focus on loving ourselves, then that allows us to have that shelter, because now we're not worried and we're not wondering, okay, but is someone else going to love me? Is someone else going to care about me? The amazing thing about being a believer is that you should always know that God loves you, that Christ loves you, that they are always there for you. And so, even if you feel like you're down on yourself, like know that, but you should be loving yourself too. And that for me has made such a difference, because it's allowed me to really have that shelter and have that peace and that comfort that, no matter what, I'm going to take care of me, and I'm going to continue to do that. And I think, especially when you do believe in God, I think sometimes, again, it can be easy to say, but, other people are more important, or, following God's the most important thing. And those are really important. But just like God says in the second commandment, you do need to love yourself as well. And so it is really important. And that's the reason why, right? The reason why is it allows you to show up better. And so, if you're struggling with that, that's what I would encourage you to do, is to make sure that you are taking care of yourself and filling up your own cup. Because even if you think about, okay, like taking care of my kids, like, oh, I don't have time to, exercise or to do these things that I want to do that I know are going to fill my own cup. But think about, if you don't do those things, how well are you going to be able to show up? If you don't truly love yourself, you're not taking care of yourself, then it's going to be harder for you to show up and to be able to help your kids, to be able to help, people in your business, because you're not filling your own cup. And so that's why it is super important for us to do that. And so that's just something that's really made a huge difference for me, is just making sure that I really am truly like taking care of myself as well. Just like God told us to do. He told us to love ourselves. And so that's something that we should do. And really, when I go and do that, and I've done that, I feel like it's been a lot better, the last few years. And it's not always easy, of course. But that's just something I, encourage you to know, is that it is actually good to do things for yourself. It is good to make sure that you're on the right page, because again, that allows you to show up fully, allows you to have the energy to be able to show up, to be able to help people. And so, I appreciate you, tuning into this, and I hope that it's helped you. And, just a little side note, I guess, on things that I have going on as far as, business wise. So last night had the first group coaching call for my new group coaching program, which is Events on Fire. And so I'm sure I'll be talking about that in the future at some point, but it's so fun. And I'm just super excited to be able to continue to pour into people's lives and be able to help them out, to especially use events in their business to be able to grow and to really make an impact, which is gonna be super fun. And then this Saturday, just in a couple of days, we have Build Your Event Live coming up, which I can't believe it's already here again, which is going to be so fun to really dive into, helping people get started with events. And so if that's something you're interested in, send me a DM. I'm happy to be able to have you there and help you your events. Because again, I think that's really the best way to truly make an impact and an income. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. So if you make it, definitely should let me know, because it'd be super fun. If not, I'm sure I'll do it in the future, or we can jump on the phone at some point too and kind of talk through what you're thinking too. So anyways, but thank you so much for tuning into this again. And I really hope that you'll take this to heart and you'll say, you know what, God commanded me to love him, to love others as thyself, right? He commanded me to love myself as well, to make sure you're showing up, because that's what he truly wants to, is when you can show up with energy, with drive, with passion, then you'll truly be able to make a difference for them too. So thanks so much and have an amazing day. We'll catch you tomorrow.